What's up guys, I'm Luke Embers, welcome back to the channel. So if you've been keeping up with my content recently, I've been posting a lot more tutorials on the basics of fire knife dancing. And while you can pretty much use anything from a random stick or a pole that you find around your home, it's honestly best practice to use something that resembles a fire knife so that you can get the best results. That's why in today's video, we are going to be making our own practice knives. In this video, I'll be going step by step on how to make a fire knife from the materials you need to the steps to build it and to testing it out. And with that said, let's jump right in. All right, what do you need to build a practice knife? First, you're gonna need a nice long pole. This pole that I have in front of me is made out of dowel wood. It's about 37 inches in length and 1 inch in diameter. You can pretty much find this at a Home Depot or any other home improvement store near you. Next, you're gonna need some duct tape or any other type of reinforcement tape. You'll need electrical tape. This is Scotch 35 grade electrical tape. I also found this at Home Depot. You'll need scissors, a tape ruler or regular ruler just to keep track of length, and then towel. Now this is just all-purpose towel that again I found at Home Depot, but you could use anything from old bathroom towels to car towels to whatever towel that you have. If you notice in a fire knife, there's a long end and then a short end. The long end is the head and the short end is the butt. Typically, the long end can go from anywhere from like 8 to 10 or 11 inches. It really doesn't matter. It's honestly based on personal desire, but for me, I'm gonna make about a 10-inch head. So what you're gonna do, I have 2 towels right here. What I'm gonna do is just take one, and depending on the towel that you use, you may have a perimeter like this that's double layered. What I like to do is I like to just cut this out just so that the towel is the same all around and there aren't thicker parts or inconsistent parts around. So I'm just gonna go ahead and chop this up. All right, so there's one. You can just set aside the borders over here, and then you're gonna do the same thing for your other towel. All right, so put that aside, and now you can lay them on top of each other like so. They should generally be the same size. Not all of these multi-purpose towels are always the same, but as long as they're generally the same size, they should be fine. Next, you can grab your stick or pole and align it on the end of the towel. What I'll do next is I'll get my tape measure or ruler and try to find 10 inches. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and mark 10 inches. Now again, this is really dependent on personal preference, but 1 inch should definitely be longer than the other to mimic the knife that you would actually use to put on fire. All right, so from here, what you're gonna do is you're just gonna kind of line up the rod a little bit above the bottom of the towel, just so that you can mark the line. Once you have a little bit cut, you can just put it out the way and then continue cutting straight up. Sweet. So now we have towel for the head end and then we have towel for the butt end. All right, we're gonna put the butt end to the side and we're gonna focus on just the head. Go ahead and grab your duct tape. Put 3 pieces to the side just to be ready. All right, so next what you're gonna do is just clear the space, and what you're gonna do is bring it to the bottom. You're gonna line it up so that the rod is directly in line with the towel. And then you're just gonna start rolling, just like that. You're gonna roll it up. Just like that. Now, keeping it in place, you're gonna grab one of your pieces of tape. You're gonna put it on one end. You're gonna pull the top end down and then tape it to the bottom, just like that. And then you're gonna do the same thing with your other piece of tape. Go towards a little bit to the left, place the tape on the top layer, pull it down so that's nice and tight. And then same thing in the middle. Sweet. So now that we have that done, what we do next is we just continue reinforcing the towel with the duct tape. Now this layer of tape is just a good way to just reinforce the towel to the pole. All right, so once most of the towel is layered with duct tape, what you'll do is you'll make a couple more pieces, put it to the side, and then you're gonna tape to the top like this. I'm sure there's different ways you can do this, but this is just the way and method that I do. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. And then from there, you'll put tape around the sides just so you keep the tape that you put on top in place. And I hate when my duct tape rips like that. All right, after you have the head done, all you really need to do is just put one more layer at the bottom and have it stick to the actual pole. Stick to the stick. All right, that should be good. Just like that. Nice. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip it over to the butt end. We're gonna grab the towel that we have aside for it, and we're pretty much gonna do the same thing. We're gonna line it up. We're gonna get some pieces of tape ready on the side, and then we're just gonna roll it up. And then we're gonna flip it over till we see the seam. Take our tape, put it on the top side. You're gonna pull it down so that it's nice and tight, and then tape it down to the bottom end. And then grab our tape and do the same thing. All right, and just like the other side, we're gonna reinforce it with some more duct tape so that no towel is being shown. All right, now we should have both ends covered in duct tape and towel, which should lead us to the next step. Grab your electrical tape. Now you can choose the type of color that you want for your practice knife. For today's video, I'm just gonna do black and white because those are my signature colors, and I just like those colors in general too. So I'm gonna grab my white electrical tape. I'm gonna start at the very bottom where I see the duct tape, and I'm gonna start wrapping it around. And you want to try to get kind of like an angle that's about 45 degrees so that you're traveling up but still covering the previous layer of electrical tape. When you get to the top, very similar to the duct tape, you'll just kind of layer the top. Okay, then you just do the very same thing to the butt end. Now, when you're doing this, just realize that the more tape that you use, the heavier the knife is gonna be. Also know that depending on how heavy you want the knife, you could also add additional layers of towel. Some people like the knife to be top heavy, some people like it more center balanced. I don't think I've met anybody who likes it bottom heavy, but to each their own. All right, now that we have both ends covered in electrical tape, all that's left is to tape the handle in the middle. And you just move on up from here. All right, looks good. Make sure that there is no duct tape or towel sticking out. So something that you could do, this is kind of optional, but you can try to find the balancing point. Now, as I mentioned, sometimes fire dancers like to have the knife top heavy, so this will be a little bit more heavy than the bottom. Sometimes people like it perfectly balanced. Now, this will just take some time to play around with, getting used to the amount of towel that you're using. But I like mine a little bit more top heavy too, and that just helps with the rotation and I get a little bit more momentum with the head part. Should be about right there. And what you can do, you can mark it off with tape. I'm not really gonna do that right now, but that's another thing that you can do based off preference, and it's just good so you know where to place your hand and where the balancing point is. We have made a practice fire knife. And there you have it, folks. One practice fire knife ready to practice with. You can go ahead and try to do different moves with it just to see how it feels. Again, as I mentioned in the video, weight can vary depending on the materials you use and how much towel you put. So there's different types of wood that you could use, like oak or even metal, whatever suits your boat. But this is just what I use typically because it's cheaper and a little bit easier to access. If you like this video but you don't want to actually make a practice knife, you could actually purchase one of these practice knives from my website at www.lukeembers.com. And if you are new to Siva Uffie or the Fire Knife Dance and you want to start your journey, you should subscribe to my newsletter down below, Embers to Ashes, where you'll receive a free digital guidebook to the intro to Siva Uffie, where I provide tips and tricks, best practices, guidelines, and even a bonus progress tracker that you can use to keep track of your progress. With that said, folks, this is all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like always, be what remains, and I will see you next time. Peace.